time for some good old-fashioned long throws, baby. Just like the old days. Remember me in the bushes? It's just like that again, you know? Ready to rock. Here we go. Hold on. Sorry. Must have just not stretched it out. You know, that was it. I just didn't stretch it out enough. All right, here we go. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Here we go. What did you do to me, man? I'm really just sad I won't be able to do those videos with the long throws anymore because long throws are officially broken. But like back to where they're supposed to, you break something that was already broken, then you kind of put it back together. Two wrongs make a right. It's the same principle. I actually don't think that matches up at all, but there is something really tragic that's happened after the next wave of updates in the Football Manager match engine. It's something that's actually really annoyed me, and we're going to get into why it annoys me later, but the actual concept itself doesn't annoy me. Long throws have been nerfed. You remember this video where we talk about how you can use long throws to just create a whole bunch of new goals for yourself? You remember watching the Streamer Showdown, where goals happen all the time in the Football Manager Championship from long throws, in particular to Virgil van Dijk. And all of this, a tradition as old as time itself that's gone on for years now in Football Manager last year and then this year, which to me feels like about a decade and a half, because that's how long I've been doing YouTube. Well, all of that happens, and now long throws don't work anymore. The Football Manager gods at be, which would be, you know, Miles Jacobson, well, they've just spun around and said, we're gonna make long throws not work no matter what. We're gonna make long throws no matter what. No matter what. What do I mean by no matter what? And then maybe you're watching this video and you're going, what do you mean long throws were a thing in the first place? In which case, I feel very bad for you. But it's time to take a trip into my Twitch save. And we dive into this Twitch save and we have a look at what long throws used to be, whether you knew what they were or not. What used to happen on them. If you want to check out the Twitch save, the link to Twitch is down in the description. There's also a live channel, which is attached to this channel where you can watch all the VODs. And there's a bunch of other fun things in the description, like, you know, the New Zealand lifestyle clothing line. That's definitely not what it's called, but it's soft shirts just for you. Or the Reddit. There's a bunch of fun things. Reese, the guy that edits the videos, he's kind of cute. Look. Anyways, this is not relevant. Let's get into some film study because we love ourselves some film study. What did long throws used to look like? Here is our example of the old school long throw. We've got João Pinto, who does not have excellent long throw ability. He has okay long throw ability. We've set him to take the throw long, and we've put our biggest bodies in the box. Now, even though João Pinto is not a particularly gifted long throw taker, throwing it long into the box still means that João Pinto is able to get the ball to this spot. The goalkeeper comes off their line. My center back, Ivan Diaz, is able to glance the ball into the back of the net, and life is good. Now, this did a couple of things. One, it created free chances because typically a long throw or just a throw in from this position in the field, unless you are Iceland, which, ow, wow, there's like a wall right here, and the echo somehow hit me in this ear, and I hate science. Anyways, the goalkeeper UI was just not very good at handling this situation. Obviously, the vast majority of players cannot make a reliable throw to a target in the 18, or in this case, in the 6, which you were able to do all of the time with this long throw mechanic. In the first place, I had long said that the best way to address this issue is if you want somebody like João Pinto to be able to make this throw, they need a specific trait that says can take long throws. Throw-ins as an actual attribute could not suck more. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The vast majority of players do not take throw-ins of any complication in real life, so how are you supposed to assess an attribute for something that the vast majority of people don't do? It's like trying to come up with a goalkeeper rating for outfield players, which Football Manager does do, but you basically aren't actually making that assumption on the vast majority of players because they've just never played goalkeeper and they're never going to. That's the same with attempting long throws. It needed to be a player trait that you just slotted in underneath the player trait side, but instead João Pinto can just stroll out there and throw an absolute pellet that turns into a free goal for us. If you weren't doing this the last 2 years, I'm sorry for your loss. us. Let's fast forward a couple of years to our actual season. Our actual season comes up against Sporting. Now, this season was played after the update. This season was the most recent on Twitch, played after the update to the match engine, so things are going to look and feel different when it comes to long throws. And one of the essential parts of being able to execute these long throws was getting bodies into the box itself. Excuse me, I do not want to watch more of this than I have to. Oh, I'm watching the goals. That's my mistake. We can't actually just be watching the goals because they don't lead to any goals. Not that it would have helped, but it would have been nice. So this is a look at what the long throws are in the new engine. I have since gone away from taking long throws in the new engine, but hold that thought. So Johan Madrid is able to take the long throw, but this time, instead of being able to connect with players, you see my center back in this case, Tyler Maglor, is sprinting backwards from his position, which is obviously not what we've told him to do. So what they've done is they've gone into the match engine and increased the dedication of the players to retreat, to completely retreat from their position to get back as fast as possible, which means they don't stay up to actually greet the long throw. You couple this with the fact that Johan Madrid is a much better long throw taker than Gel Pinto, and yet the ball came up much shorter, even though it was traveling a much shorter distance than Gel Pinto's long throw was with just that 11 long throw taking. This is something that we see repeated over and over. The center backs are retreating, but this is not the only issue that I've had. The last thing that they've done to make sure that long throws are no longer an effective method of offense, which is statistically viable at this point. There was an entire streamer showdown with, from what I understand, not a single goal that resulted directly from a long throw, when in the previous streamer showdown there were over a dozen. Which, if you don't know what the streamer showdown is, it's the FM championship. It happens once a month, and there are a lot of games played between a bunch of people that are desperately trying to win, which means you're trying to do everything you can to win, including long throws, and they just didn't work. The other reason that they really don't work is that Football Manager has done something that is very un-Football Manager. So obviously, when you're in your set piece tactics, you're fiddling around with things, you put players where you want them to be, because that is the entire essence of the game. And this is where I get kind of tilted, because this part doesn't make any sense to me. Football Manager is all about telling people where to go, and then reaping the benefits or reaping the windfall and the disaster of telling those players to go where you want them to go. You want to send your goalkeeper up for every corner? You can. That's how the game works. But what Football Manager has done has just not allowed some of the tall dudes to get forward on long throws previously. And at the beginning of this season, when I wasn't sure if they were broken or not, I would send forward both of my center backs. Well, I still have that. I didn't change the tactic, and that's my other center back standing over there, miles away from the spot that I want him to be at, which, if we can get one of those fancy little circles, is right here. This is the final step, the final straw, and in my opinion, a bridge too far. Now, obviously, the best way to do this would be to fix the actual delivery of the long throw, which they've done a little bit, but clearly in testing, it didn't work enough to reflect a real world amount of long throw goals being scored. So what they should do is nerf that even more, instead of making your center backs just run away from the ball and putting the other guy that you told to be in the box, because Kean Harries is my best aerial player. I definitely told him to be in the box, to have him not be in the box. Yeah. Not to mention that happens, and then things get really dangerous. The only highlights that I tend to get off of long throws anymore were counters, which is why I've gone to taking short long throws. I'm still working on putting together another tactic that takes the most advantage of that position, but I am increasingly frustrated by the fact that they have retreated the center backs out on the long throws, and this will remove, I mean, for me, about 5 to 10 goals per season in a save, which is huge. But that's where the anger stops, because I don't think it's a bad thing. Long throws are not a super relevant part of the modern game, and Football Manager's goal is to reflect how relevant something is in the modern game. You see this in direct free kicks, because every time you talk about, well, nobody's scoring direct free kicks, SI and Football Manager, SI being the company that makes Football Manager, it's called Sports Interactive, and congrats, now you're caught up. That company releases data and says, well, hey, look, the number of goals on direct free kicks in real life is actually very low, and so that is reflected in Football Manager. It's like 1 in every 50 or something. It's one of those things where Football Manager is actively trying to reflect real life. And when you're doing that, long throws being OP is definitely a problem. And it's always a battle to try and combat the new hot set piece tactics. But long throws were the big glaring issue. I think they've addressed it in the wrong way, but I can confirm wholeheartedly that Football Manager long throws are dead. They're vanquished. I'm interested to see what they do in FM22 because the tweaking with the match engine in 21 is probably done because we're about halfway through the cycle. So I am interested. I hope that you're able to put your players up and that it's just a trait and there are a few players that can take long throws, and those players will be increasingly valuable because I will sign them and attempt to replicate the glory days of FM20 with long throw cheese. This is my preset tactic. I've called it Iceland, and obviously the two center backs are up the field. So Kean Harries, who would be playing center back left, which is this particular position, would be further back. Is further back. You see him right there. He's back. I've even tried moving them around and it does not work. They still find the big guy and send them back. One of them, at least. The essence of the game lost here. People have been asking me what to do now. Look, you can create opportunities off short throws. Right now, what I'm experimenting with is a center midfielder comes short. So somebody that's good with the ball, you grab like Kwame Appiah, then you have the throw go short. But the person that you have taking the corner would be, say, my right back, who is a very good crosser from this position. Because what will normally happen is the throw goes short, it goes back to the throw-in taker, and the throw-in taker crosses the ball. So what I'm essentially attempting to create is a quick crossing situation, an open crossing situation for my team. But the jury is out on this. I don't know for sure what the answer is, but I know that the truth is that long throws, unless you have an incredibly talented long throw taker who can deliver long, flat bullet throws, are going to be completely irrelevant. And even if you have a throw-in taker like that, you are going to need to get some fortune because some of your big players will just not be in the box for those long throws. I'm sorry to rain on your parade, and trust me, this is one of my favorite things to tell people, to increase their goal output and make their lives better. It's good for the realism. The way they did it was bad, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it in the future. Right step in the... Here! Ho, ho, ho! It's the wrong step in the right direction. Huh. That was good. I'll see you on stream or on another video. Bye. This thing really spins forever, dude. It's incredible.